Welcome to Crossways, and it is the international break.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Do you like the international break? Obviously, you did when you was a player.
Yeah, I loved it as a player, but as a fan and watching games, it's going to be a bit of a long 10 days, I think.
You think?
Yeah.
It's a good game tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm worried about it, to be honest. I'm worried about... I'm not too worried about the central defence, Millie and Alex Greenwood. I think they're pretty cool. Obviously, Kira's going to play in there with Georgia Stanway and then maybe one other. I don't know, maybe Jess Park. And then up front is another massive worry. Don't know who's gonna play up front, who's gonna score goals, because we haven't got anyone scoring at the minute. But my massive worry, if I'm to be totally honest, Steph, is the midfield. And the fact that when you look at our midfield and you look at Georgia Stanway and Keira Walsh, after that, who's going to come in for them two? If anything happens to them two, what do we do? Everybody else is offensive. Everybody else is like a 10 or an offensive midfielder. It feels, Leah, we saw what happened when we tried to go with Leah, I think a couple of seasons ago when it was in the Arnold Clark Cup in the midfield. Remember that?
Yeah.
It didn't quite work out. So I don't know where and what we will do, where we're going to find a player and what we're going to do about that if we have a problem in that area.
Yeah, I think when the squad came out, you're looking at some like good young up-and-coming players, but I think especially in that midfield area, we really just haven't got that other Keira Walsh, have we? I think them two players, and Keira Walsh and Georgia Stanway, have played really well for England over the last few years, and they kind of pick themselves. So I don't know. I think you obviously have the likes of Jess Parks and you have the likes of Ella Toone, who are the number 10s or 8s, but it's, I don't know, do you kind of maybe drop Georgia a little bit in, or is there somebody that's up and coming?
We've done that with Georgia. I prefer Georgia where she is.
Georgia is definitely better, closer to their box than our box, and that's just her
especially
strength.
With that great striker. Because when Georgia's playing in and around there, Kira's got that capability of when she's got time and space, she turns quick, she can get the ball away. But the one thing that I worry with, if Georgia plays in there, is that Georgia doesn't play like that.
No.
It doesn't come naturally to her to play like that. And it's such an integral position in Serena's midfield.
Yeah, everything comes through that player, and I think with Keira, she obviously does it a lot for club, and she's done it a lot for England over these last few years. And I think that is probably like my thoughts on the squad, is that like who is, if some players, touch wood, they don't get injured or they're ready for the Euros, but it's like, do we have that strength in if people can back them up and can be tried in these next few games? I think you've got to give players opportunity to kind of have their case of making the squad.
Who else is a 6? Steph, who I can't, thinking now, apart from turning somebody into a 6 and then playing a position that's not comfortable for them, who else is there?
You know, when you automatically look at the younger age groups, so I'm looking at England under 23s, and I look at a Ruby Mace, for example, and I think she's played there a lot for that age group, and she's now getting the minutes at Leicester. I think last season I think she didn't get the minutes that she wanted, and she really got herself into like really good shape, and she's technically very good, and there's so much talk about Ruby when she was younger.
Yes.
But I think now she's not even making this squad, so it's like, yeah, I agree. I think that's an area where we probably need to look at what is the next thing if, for example, Keira gets marked out of a game. We need Keira to be on the ball. Who helps her do that?
It's funny because with Ruby, when she left Arsenal, I thought, how can we let a young player like that go, needs to develop? And then she went to City, obviously. Still didn't work out for her City. Where did she go? Did she go somewhere on loan as well?
She went to Leicester and then she came back. And she did actually really well, and she came back full of confidence. She was fitter. Last season, just didn't get the minutes.
Do you speak to her? What's she like?
You know what? She's a really nice girl, and you know, like in terms of like attitude and in training and stuff, she was one of our best trainers last year, without a doubt. And I think improvement-wise, she improved a lot. So now it's just about, when you're a young player, you just want to go and play games.
And the thing is if she's done that and she's done the work, and then obviously she didn't get no reward for it, what's her attitude like, and what's her personality like? Where will she go, oh, God, or will she say, right, let me go again? Is she good? Do you think she's good enough? Because she's obviously she's a main player in under 23s.
Yeah.
Do you think that if they brought her in, even to have a look, that she would be okay with, because the step up in quality?
Yeah, I think sometimes like players, like when they're with better players, can just then, okay, I've got to raise my level and I've got to get better, or you can either go the other way and you know the opportunity's gone. So I really do think that she could just go into that environment and just be like, I think she trained with the seniors maybe a few times last year when they brought some players over, and she was absolutely buzzing to be able to do that. So I think like just give people a taste of it.
I think give her a taste. The reason why I say it as well, Steph, is because we've got no one else, and we need to find out. So we need to find out what's going on.
I think now, because if you look at the year that England had, I think we were a bit inconsistent in terms of performances, results, and sometimes you get that off the back of a World Cup year and you've done so well and the highs are massive, but I think now is like you've got how many months? 8 months now and leading up to the Euros. Like this is where you've got to try and test your squad now, and you've got to give people a little bit of belief to try and make it. And there's no bigger game than Germany tonight.
It's a massive game. We've done the midfield, done up front. Well, we haven't really done too much up front because, you know, obviously I feel Leslie's goal scoring is a little bit of a worry for me, but like for England, under Serena, her record's unbelievable. She does well, so I can't see Serena doing anything in that department. Hopefully Leslie can nick a goal or something. Jessica Naz, you know, probably like to see her get a goal. I know she came on. I haven't seen enough of her. But like, I think that our main strength is probably the defence.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen with Leah. You know, with her form, with the, you know,
it's going to be interesting, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think that's a position where we are very lucky. I think in terms of Millie, you've got Alex, you've got Leah, you've got Lotta. Fullback's probably an area where we're probably light in the sense of especially we've always got Lucy, who is so reliable and so experienced, but you can only go on for so long. And
she's still looking good, eh?
And I know she listens to this, but Lucy, I'm not writing you off. I know you're really experienced.
Did you hear what I just said there, Luz? She's still looking good there, Luz.
Yeah, see. But left back, I think Jess Carter is probably the one that's fitted in a lot, but Neve's just coming back from injury. Alex has been put there just maybe to solve that issue of who do you pick. Alex is a centre half, and she has been the most consistent centre half in the WSL for the last 2 seasons, and along with Millie as well. But Millie suffered a little bit with injury last year, so
she was the biggest miss for me.
Who, Millie?
Yeah, she's the biggest miss.
You know what, Millie, in terms of a different centre half compared to Leah and Alex, just her physicality, I think, and her ability just to defend first is. I mean, when I used to play with Millie at England, I think we complemented each other because we were different types of centre-halves, and I think you do need that in a system the way that England plays. Yes.
What I see with Leah is obviously, since the injury, you know what I mean, obviously it's probably quite tough for her to get back to the levels. I don't know how hard she's going in respects of breaking down again. Is she going too hard? Is she not going hard enough? I don't know. But like, you look at it and you think to yourself, can she break in front of those two? I know that she's a captain, but if we're talking about solidity, then it's probably them two. And like we just mentioned with the midfield, we tried Leah in that midfield. It didn't quite work out. So what do you think is going to happen with Leah coming up? Because you know she's the captain, and she probably thinks she'll be wanting to play.
Oh yeah, of course she'll be wanting to play. She's England captain, and she's done well over these last, well, especially Euro. She had a really great tournament and missed the World Cup. And I think Wrighty as well, like when you come back from an ACL, it's so different. Like you look at Jill Rod, she's came back and she's absolutely flying. And sometimes it just takes people different time to get back to that level, and it is going to be a tough competition. I think it is in terms of them 3 players, especially, I think, in terms of what they do for their clubs. And there's no doubt that Leah can get back to that level that we're so expecting of her. And I think as well, I think the midfield talk, Leah does not need to go into midfield. No. Leah is a centre-half, and the age that she is and the experience that she has, it is so important that now that is her specific position. And yeah, you can do a job there, but in these tournaments, you need players that are midfield players.
Yeah, you can't have like people who you're hoping can do a job. I think it was Coombs. Was it Coombs in the World?
Yeah, Coombsy came in.
Coombsy came in, didn't she? What's happened to her? I haven't heard nothing from her. Is she okay?
Yeah, she's okay. I think just obviously City are playing really well, and obviously Jill's came back. She's performing well straight away from her ACL. Medima's come to the club, so in terms of that number 10 position, it's quite hard to get into as well. Yeah,
there's a guy in there as well.
Yeah,
you know, it's a tough one, but like, I'm looking forward to tonight to see what they do
at Wembley as well. Yeah, it's just amazing playing Germany at Wembley.
It's the one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is the one.
So, Steph, like you mentioned, it's the first international break. We're 5 games in. I think the season started pretty well. People are just kind of finding their feet. But who would you say, players-wise, have stuck out for you? I've got a couple.
I have to say Lauren Hemp.
You took her off me. Did you know I was going to say her or something?
Well, if we're thinking the same thing, then she must be one of the best players.
She must be
so
doing
far.
the business.
She was unbelievable on Sunday. Did the game on Sunday, and that is probably one of the best performances I've seen from Hempo in terms of consistency. Against Liverpool, when the team needed somebody, she stood up, and against Villa, getting beat 1-0 at half time, but to be able to kind of just drag the team and just be like, okay, I'm going to score an absolute worldie for the first goal.
Can I say with the goal how underplayed it's been because of how, you know what I saw Robbie Fowler score one like that against Charlton years ago. He's running away from the goal and he just had to hook it back over, but it's not like blast it back over. It's just like a little hook back over.
She just knew, and you can see she's looking. Yeah. But I think even for me, Wrighty, I think like I've just seen a bit of a different Lauren Hemp this season, and I don't know whether it's because she's committed to the club. She's so desperate to win, and like I think the thing that we look at Lauren Hemp and you think, okay, she's really good at dribbling, she's quick, she can get the balls in the box, but like her mentality to win is like she's really desperate. Good. Yeah, she's really
we could
dribbling.
Play her up. We could play. I only mentioned Jess Nazen. I've mentioned Leslie, but she could probably play up front.
I like Hempo as a 9.
Yeah,
I think in terms of like you wouldn't want to play against her as a centre half, like because she can do a bit of everything. She can run in behind, she can come into the pocket, and I think that is probably where Hempo's games develop. She's able to kind of be a little bit more involved in the play. She's not just stuck out wide.
So she could play up with a 2, maybe with Leslie. I thought that worked in the World Cup as well, didn't it?
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be playing against that, especially with Les. I think Les at England is kind of, if she's playing at 9, I think it's just being in around the box. I think we've said that in a previous pod.
It's a lot easier to say than do, obviously, because you know, as a striker as well, she's putting in the work. Yeah. But it's the kind of work that for a striker people are not interested in. The only time they're interested in seeing you do that work is if you get that work wrong as well. So as I say, she's not even holding it up properly, but she's doing that. She's working the channels, but I still believe I think she'll probably play tonight. Sorry to go back to England. But then if she can have Lauren M in and around her with that kind of quality, that better quality around her, I think that she might nick a goal tonight. Hopefully she can.
Hopefully, yeah. Give her confidence.
But going back to Lauren Hemp, it's just she started the season really, really well. She's the kind of player that if she carries on like this, because you know that Barcelona, I know they've got some wingers now, some great wingers as well, but she's that player that she could go to Barcelona. She could play for anyone in the world right now. And I think that when you look at her and the mindset, the way she's playing, the way she's taking people on, you know, the way she's taking people on and going at them.
But even the work going backwards as well, Ian, like she literally was left wing and then all of a sudden she was near right back and I was like, where is she going? But she actually wins the ball there and it just gives City a bit of relief. But I think for me, without a doubt, she's been the best player of the WSL so far. The games I've watched.
Can I say somebody who's pushing her?
Go on then.
Canyerid.
Oh, yeah.
Very good. Chelsea. One of my favourite players at Chelsea, and I'm just going to say it quick simply because we're going to talk about Canyerid, is Sandy Baltimore.
Yeah.
I remember, did you say I put it in the group as well?
Yeah.
You
did put it in the group.
Really looking good. But in respects of Canyerid, what she's doing, like she's getting to that stage and that age now, like 27. She said that she's spoken to the manager and the manager just wants her to play to her strengths. I know people say, oh yeah, all right, managers. That is something that is, people think, oh, it's easy to do. But when you're out there and you get the ball and you say, right, I'm just going to go for it, and you lose it, you start to worry. You worry about what people think and losing the ball. But she is like, she's taking it. Bam, she's taking the nettle.
She is one of the main players for Chelsea. I think we haven't really spoke about Chelsea that much because I think they've just quietly gone under the radar. But I think against Tottenham, it could have been about 7 or 8.
It should have been. It should have been.
But yeah, she's, you know what, like I think it is interesting what you say and people say, oh yeah, just play at your strengths. But I think it's obviously that mentality to know actually what your strength is and like, but being able to perform that strength. So with Lucy behind her as well, I think that relationship is key. And I think like that is important that you do build them relationships to kind of go forward. But by the way, our first goal. Beautiful
volley. Honestly, it was, I've not seen that. Obviously, remember back at Di Canio's unbelievable volley like that. I'm not saying that's the same, but she was in the air.
Yeah, and it's actually, she's just like let it hit her. Whereas sometimes if you actually like just go
through. It was just like beautifully guided, wasn't it? Yeah. It was just like off the instep, but like it was beautifully taken. You know what I mean? The ball was great to her, and she finished it really, really well. And it's what her performance desered, if I'm going to be totally honest. Chelsea do look, if we're going to be totally honest, you know, it's not clicking to the point where you're thinking they're playing it through and it's nice, but like they are doing something where you think, yeah, they're not a million miles away.
They're ruthless.
Chelsea.
I think that's the biggest thing for me when I look at Chelsea over the years, regardless of Emma Hayes has gone. I think they just have this ruthless streak where they're just like, they're able to score goals regardless of performance. They just continue to find the way. If it's not Ramirez, it's Canyard, it's Baltimore, it's Wright, and we've not even spoke about Wright, and she's one of the most consistent players. So no, I actually think Chelsea have performed really well over this last.
And she's had a lot to do with that Canyard. If I'm going to be totally honest, watching Arsenal right now, I'm not seeing the challenge where it's going to come from at the minute. So hopefully they can get themselves going, get playing with a little bit more fluidity. But like what I'm seeing of City and Lauren Hemp's form, and what I'm seeing of Chelsea, and just the way that they just slip into, we know how to play at this stage of the season, and we know what to do. I think it's definitely them two, easily, by a mile as well.
Without a doubt. I think like what you're saying about Arsenal, obviously Villa. You know, when I was thinking the beginning of the season, I was like, Villa, I think they've got big things coming. They've got a new manager. They've signed all these players. And I just knew by half-time they couldn't do what they were doing against City. It's impossible to do that for 90 minutes. You cannot just go player for player, all over the pitch. And they scored a really good goal. And Gabby Nunez was a really good player for them. And I feel as though she got took off at the wrong time. I feel as though they were just getting on top a little bit. And the manager took her and Hansen off, which were Villa's best players.
Oh, gosh.
But yeah, I think definitely Chelsea and City at this moment in time.
That was a really strange decision to take Kirsty Hansen and take her off.
I really like Kirsty Hansen. I think she's direct. I think she just, as a fullback, you wouldn't want to mark her.
No, because she's very direct. She's just, boom, she just goes straight at you and that really, really like boulders through, you know. But like, I've got to speak about the finish, Gabby Nunez's finish.
Yeah.
Because the cross was brilliant, but the way she got in, there and got the outside of the boot and scored the goal. It was at that stage I'm thinking, okay, Villa, do something else now. Maybe like drop off, see if you could catch them on the break a bit. Maybe see if you can, you know what I mean, just take the sting out of the game. And
I just feel as though they never really had an outlet because Rachel Daly was playing a little bit like in midfield, trying to be around Yui with Nunez and I think sometimes when you win, they were winning the ball, but it's like it just coming straight back because there's actually nobody to kind of hold it up, and that's Rachel Daly's strength, like use her for that kind of thing. So I did message her after the game saying you must have ran a marathon because I was watching her. I think she was just like, oh my god, but I think it's just with a new manager and trying to find ways. I think it's not that they're not performing well; it's just they're not getting the results at the moment.
Can we speak about Arsenal quickly in respects of another player that I'm desperate to see now, and it's like...
Let me guess who it is. Kafaji.
Yeah. Jesus, Steph.
Come on.
Yeah, Rosa. Even the other day when they came on against West Ham, obviously she scored the goal. But like what we need to see from Arsenal is obviously it's still kind of felt Jonas Bally. And the players still look a little bit like in that mode where they just feel like, oh, we're on auto, play, bam, bam. And so when we changed it, when we brought Rosa on especially, and Stina, obviously, who can stretch teams, you know, and getting the ball and maybe some of the first couple of touches, she's beating people. She's trying to beat people. It's something that we need to be doing now. If Sleggers can see what she can do in respect of breaking open these low blocks and trying things.
I love the way that she moves.
She moves so beautifully.
Like she can just drop a shoulder and go the other way, and she's quite tall, isn't she? So you didn't think she wouldn't think that she'd be able to move like that, but she's actually like quite agile. And yeah, I think even on them clips I've seen against West Ham, I think she was definitely the one that was trying to make things happen for Arsenal.
But the thing with her is that the fans as well, the fans are desperate to see her because they can recognise as well that, you know, we need something else there. You know, there's a lot of endeavour. You know what I mean? Even when Kyra Cooney-Cross came on, it felt a little bit more energised. The legs looked a little bit more busy in there, passing with a little bit more pace. Again, in the moment, you know, you look at the way Stina plays, and obviously, you know, with the chances that she does miss sometimes, it does give us the opportunity to stretch teams, get into that final third, win the ball in that area, and maybe try and score from there.
Yeah.
Something different rather than this constant, you know, circulating of the ball in that semicircle in front of people. we need to be playing some. I think Rosa should be playing now. I think the way she's celebrating her goal said to me, it felt like it was like an angry celebration. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Which I ain't got no problem with, because I think she must be looking and thinking, well, what do I need to do to get in this side?
That's what you need to do, though, isn't it? Score and create. Yeah. I think we never really mentioned Brighton. I've been really impressed with Brighton this season. I do. I love Carabali at the back. I think she's just does things that a centre-half shouldn't really do, but she gets away with it, and she's just so technical. But I think, obviously, Nikita Paris scoring against
her brilliant instinctive goal. She
unbelievable header.
That was a fantastic
I wouldn't
goal.
put Keats with a heading ability, but I think that was a great header, especially at the Amex as well. So
when you look at Brighton and their experience and the way that they're playing with really too much pressure. They're not under any pressure to really do too much, if we're going to be totally honest, but they've got some good experienced players now.
And I think Nikita is one of them. I think you don't really realise how many games she's played at this level, and she's played international football, and she's still quick, and she play anywhere across the front three. And now I feel as though in that 9 position for Brighton, I think just her attributes will make it hard for other clubs to be able to kind of keep her quiet. And obviously that header just kind of typifies Keats in the sense that you just need to know where she is, and United just didn't know where she was in that instance. It's a good point for Brighton. I mean,
it's a great point.
Yeah, Man United have had a great start the season, but a very good point for them. Right, Wrighty. We haven't even spoke about Jonas resigning.
Yeah.
Just because you got your Arsenal hoodie on and stuff, I thought I had to get this in.
Yeah, that was, well, the way that was going, we could see something was going to happen. Either he resigned or he was going to get sacked, which is a shame for him. But, you know, it's happened now. But what I was going to say is Nick Cushing. Hearing a lot of talk about Nick Cushing. I know he's got Man City links. He's had Man City links. But, like, a lot of talk, his name's getting thrown about a lot. What's he about? What's he like?
And rightly so, I think.
Is he good?
Yeah, I think he's probably the best manager I've ever played under, and I think when I moved to City, he was a really new coach in terms of in the women's game, and I feel as though like the success of Nick over the 8 years that he was at the club kind of speaks for itself. I think in terms of the way that he plays the game, how tactically he's really aware, and technically how he improved a lot of us as players. I think that's the biggest thing for me. It's like, how can a manager get results but also individually improve players? And obviously he's at New York City at the moment. He's doing really well. They've made the playoffs so far this season, and but rightly so for Nick. I think knowing him as a friend as well, I think to be linked with a job like Arsenal, and it's going to be a big job because Arsenal's such a wonderful football club. I think it's only right that he is linked. Whether he goes, I don't know.
You know, is he really meticulous with his tactics, and how does he want to play? Does he want to play attacking, or is he want to play counter attack, transitional? How's he play?
He obviously wants a lot of control of the ball, which has been a thing for a lot of clubs. I know that Arsenal try to do that under Jonas, is about controlling, but I think meticulous is a good word in terms of the sessions. I remember we won 2016 WSL, our only WSL trophy, and we conceded 4 goals, and that wasn't down just to the players that we had. That was just all to do with the hard work that we did on the training ground. And you had a back 4 and back 5 of KB, Lucy Bronze, me, Jennifer Beattie, Demi Stokes, but also it was about how we got the front players to work, how we got our midfielders to work, and we would practice that every single week. And I think for me, in terms of his train sessions, were always enjoyable, but I think in games when tactically we needed to change stuff, he could just see things that nobody else could see.
Do you think it'd be a good move for him to come to Arsenal? Do you think that would be a good move?
I'd be jealous, but yeah, I think for me, it's a big job. It is a massive job, I think, with the expectation of Arsenal. But I think if there's one person that is up for it and who can do it with his personality and persona, I think it is definitely Nick. And whether that happens, I don't know. Would you be excited by him, or do you not know enough about him? He
sounds great, but like again, I if I'm really totally honest, I'm going there. I probably want to see a woman manager at Arsenal. You know what I mean? I saw, where was that? I got that stat the other day. I got Alex. Was it 4 out of 12 WSL coaches are women? Obviously, Slegger's now 5 is interim for us. 5 in the Championship out of 11. 3 out of like 14 in the NWSL. I think there's something for me that doesn't feel right. The amount of coaches and women coaches that are not managing. But like, I'm not saying that to Nick Cushion or any of the blokes in the game. You know what I mean? I don't want you in the game, but I would just rather, for the women's sake, to have a woman at the helm.
You know, in terms of this appointment, this is going to be a long-term appointment as well, isn't it, really? So it's like you want to build for that future. You don't want to just, potentially you might have to sacrifice a bit of success this season to get success that comes in the next few years because you're trying to build something, because Jonas was there for a while. But I do understand what you're saying in terms of women's coaching. There is women coaches out there, but they're just not being given that opportunity. That's
what I'm saying, and there's so much more complex in that dressing room, and that's got to have something to do with the outcome of games and how you play and how you feel. You know, it's just something I'd just like to see. Like to see.
Who would you, anyone in mind?
Probably, you know, something is obviously Casey Stoney. You know, her name comes up, and a lot of people talk about maybe she's got a bit of a pragmatic style. She's very much more defensive than attacking. You don't know how she's thinking now in respects of the players that Arsenal have got defensively. You know what I mean? Obviously, you always want to... I don't care what anyone says. I believe that your team should be built from defence anyway. But then, if you've got the kind of players that we've got with pace like Stina, with skill like Kafaji, and players that you can get the ball to in certain areas and they can make things happen, then she's the kind of leader, manager and experience that you probably feel like, she probably is perfect for Arsenal.
And you look
now.
at her record in terms of what she did at Man United in terms of getting them promotion, getting them to 4th in the league before she left to go to San Diego. I think the record speaks for itself, and also, you know, as a coach, you're always continuous development. So what would she be like if she went to Arsenal and she had all them attacking players? Not necessarily would she stay defensive. She'd probably have that element of a game because she was a centre-half and like that's what you kind of go towards. No, and I don't think it is, because I think if you're able to keep clean sheets and not concede, then it gives you a better chance of success, and we know that. And Arsenal are really top-heavy in the sense of they've got a lot of attacking players that can go and score goals. It's just being able to give them that framework and that structure to be able to do that. And Casey was assistant when we were at England with Phil. And I think obviously she was just learning her trade there. But I think if anything goes by as a player, she was always one of the best workers. She would leave like nothing like unturned in sense of every detail will be, she'd be across all that. And I think in terms of the way that she wants her team to play, I think she has very good values. So it could only be a good thing. You know,
when I look at it, I think it could be a really good fit simply because the fact that she is defensive. She is a defensive player. She was a defensive player. When you've got that much attacking talent that we've got, when you look at what we've got, especially once we get them fit, once everybody's like, you know, got up to speed with what they're doing, you know what I mean? I think that, focus totally on that and let them get on with it. Yeah. So I don't mind her because I think... And
that's how it should be though, Ian. Like, exactly. I think like... At this like level now, I think players should be able to defend 1v1 in them scenarios. So then, I know that Arsenal have been known to not break down a low block, but the reason they're being able to do it is because they're not being able to defend when they're getting countered against. So it's like, it's both. It's being able to score, but also being able to go, right, okay, if the ball's coming out, I'm winning it first. I'm able to defend 1v1 and then give it back to my mate to then go and score. So I think just having that like knowledge and that structure to be able to kind of do that and use them players to go and let them do what they want to do can be the only right step in the right direction for Arsenal.
Slegger's at the moment. Obviously, she's doing the interim job for Arsenal, but with the games that I've seen, a couple of games that I've seen up to this point, I've not seen enough change. It's
going to be hard for her, I think, because you've been so involved the last year in terms of what Jonas has done, being his assistant, and it's not that she hasn't got the experience because she was at Rosengard for 2 years as a head coach. So
after him as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I think, for me, I think maybe using this international break to then maybe kind of stamp your authority in the next bit.
Do you think that's enough time, Steph, for her to try and get them to play in the way that she might want to play instead of, like, you know, still kind of Jonas balls kind of like still petering out of the place? She's going to try and say, let's do this and let's do that just for something different, to give her an opportunity to maybe say, right, while I'm in the seat, I might as well have a go at seeing if I can get it. Let me see if we can.
Yeah, she has to have a go. Way. I think you have to put your principles down. You have to kind of lay that out to all the girls in terms of what you want. And the only thing is now, because of the bad start that Arsenal have had, or the start that is not expected of them, you need results.
Yes. It's like twisting on 17. She's just got to do it because, like, if you do need results, of course, because, like, you don't want to get too far behind.
But then she'll want the job, won't she? So
but then she's got to do something else, because I'm looking at the players in the last couple of games I've seen under her. They still don't look energized. They still don't look like, oh, something's different. They still don't look like we're ready to go again.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? The only time it looked like that is when she made those 4 substitutions the other day.
Do you think someone fresh coming in then, maybe?
Well, only unless... No, I would want her to have a go herself, because, she's worked her way up to this position. You know what I mean? Yes, she's been behind Jonas at Rosengard. She's got to a place now where the Arsenal job is falling in her lap. Then opportunities, it's knocking. So, like you mentioned rightly, she's got the international break. So... What's that, 10 days? Mm-hmm. Let's see what she can do. Let's see what she can do in those 10 days.
Yeah.
So, Steph, special night for you tonight at Wembley.
I'm nervous.
You're nervous? They're honouring you. It's amazing, Steph.
I know. I don't really know what to think about at the minute, to be honest. I think to be at Wembley is going to be amazing. I think I never ever thought that I'd be there to be able to kind of celebrate retiring from football and retiring from everything that I've done at England. But honestly, the conversation was just like, do you want to get honoured at a game? And I was like, why not at Wembley?
No, give us more, Steph. How did it come about? Did you get a letter or did you get a phone call?
No, Kay Cossetton at the FA got in touch with my agent and was just like, this is what we're thinking. Obviously, I'd announced my retirement in May. We'd love to kind of honour her, and I think it's really special when somebody does that, because then I think then you know that all the work that you've done and everything that you've done for the country, it's kind of been appreciated. And I think I had a choice of a couple of games to do it in, but I just thought England, Germany. Yeah, that's just my favourite ever fixture. So, yeah, me and my family are going down today, and yeah, hopefully I get to see you there as well, right?
Yeah, I'm going to try and. I'll definitely be watching that. I'll probably have tears in my eyes.
Oh, I think I'll be crying. I'm going to.
If they do a close up on you and you're crying, it's going to make me cry.
I do like all the video stuff the other day, and like I was thinking, I'll be fine. Like it's been ages since I played for England, but I think when you see old videos and you see like all them like anthems that you've sung and stuff like that, and I'm just like, oh my god, I need to go. I was like, Steph, stop now, stop.
What about when? Yeah, but Steph, you got to think about. Can you remember your first cap?
Yeah, like yesterday.
How nervous were you?
Yeah, so nervous, and I think when you're managed by Hope Powell as well, I was even more nervous.
Right,
yeah.
Was Hope hard work?
You know what? Like, she was amazing. She was like very like stern, and like you just didn't want to do anything wrong with her.
Standards.
And I was coming in, it's like 16, 17, and she was just throwing us on against Russia at MK Dons, and I'm thinking, oh my god, why she put me on? And
who was you playing with?
God, like Kelly Smith, Faye White, like I mean, they're like my ultimate heroes. I think when you speak about England, that's the two people that, and Rachel Yankee, of course. But to be able to make my debut with them types of players was amazing. But
it's nice. You know what I love about what's going on now is like they're bringing back a lot of the women players, especially the women players who got no recognition.
Oh, rightly so as well, though, Ian, because I think we always, when we were playing, it was like, okay, like just remember what a lot of people have done to get us in this position. And I think it is so important that you remember them players, because obviously they weren't on TV every week. They weren't able to play at Wembley Stadium. There's not many people watch them because it wasn't as popular, but they really did set the path up for everybody else now. And I think it is amazing what they do with the legacy caps, and rightly so. I think everybody should have a legacy. If you've put the white shirt on for England, then you should be remembered for what you've done.
So Steph, just quickly before we go, I just want, because I know it never happened to me and it would have never happened to me, but when the manager pulled you and said, Steph Houghton, you're going to be captain of England. Can you remember when that happened? Yeah,
I was at St George's Park, and it was probably like late at night, to be fair. I was rooming with Ellen and we were getting ready for bed, to be fair. So Mark said, come down, I need to have a conversation with you. And never in a million years do you even like imagine that.
Who was captain before?
Casey. Yeah, and she wasn't there that camp, and I know that there was a few people that he was looking at in terms of the next leaders.
How many caps would you say you had by that time?
God, not even 50.
Wow.
And I was only 25. So I think, for one, you're thinking, oh my God, I'm 25. Yes. There's players with a lot more experience than me who have been to a lot of tournaments and probably earned that role. But ultimately, I think when you hear that, I was just like, "You're joking, aren't you?" And he was like, "I'm not joking, Steph, for God's sake."
What was it like? Did you do a kind of? Do you have to do a speech with the players and that?
He did make us do that actually.
Wow,
honestly,
Steph,
the first day, he was like, "Don't tell anybody." So obviously, I told my mum and dad. That was the only people I was allowed to tell. Couldn't even tell Ellen. So I'm walking back to the room and I've got a massive smile on my face, and I couldn't even say anything.
What was it?
She's like, "Where have you been?" I was like, "I just had to go and get some kit or something like that." And then the next day, he said it in front of all the players, and he's like, "Right, okay, Steph, do you want to speak?" But obviously, I'd be more comfortable speaking now. But at the time, you're 25 and you're not really found your place in the squad. You don't really know if you're going to start or whatever. And then all of a sudden, you're named captain. It was, the biggest honour.
Can you remember anything what you said? Because like you can't prepare that. Did you prepare that speech?
No, because I didn't know I was doing it. So
wow,
I think that was my first thing of, right, okay, this is how it's going to be for the next 8 years. Like, you have to be able to speak in front of people. But I think I was just like obviously honoured to do it and to lead the girls out. That's the biggest thing, I think, when you're like able to do that job but you're doing it with your mates, was probably the most special moment.
I'm looking forward to it now. See, now I know that's Steph and all that, what it means to you. It's going to make me even more emotional. I'm going to be emotional.
God, we're both going to be in tears at Wembley.
Yeah, I'm going to be emotional.
I'll have to come and find you.
I'll find you.
I'll find stuff.
Yeah, the TV stuff. We'll be up there, ITV, somewhere up there. So you have to find me because remember my Bertie. My Bertie's not well, so we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Is that it for this week, Steph? Yeah,
that's it. We will see you next week.
We'll see you next week. Hope you enjoy the England game tonight. Come on, England.
Come on, England.
Nice one, Steph.